I never expected my life to implode over a cardboard box. But that's exactly what happened. You ever have that one moment in your life? Just one that you wish you could go back to and scream at yourself to walk away? For me, it was the day I opened a box that wasn't mine, Dot. It was a Thursday. I remember it because I always clean the apartment on Thursdays, and my ex, Caleb, always hated the smell of lemon cleaner. He said it reminded him of hospitals. He was full of those little complaints, and I was full of excuses for him. That's on me. Anyway, I was organizing the closet, trying to be productive so I wouldn't text him. We'd broken up 3 days earlier, or rather, he ghosted me and moved out while I was at work. Left me with the rent, the dog, and this void that felt like it might swallow me whole. That's when I saw it. A cardboard box tucked behind the winter coats. Not labeled. Not mine. I didn't even think twice. I pulled it out, plopped it on the bed, and opened it. Inside were envelopes. Dozens of them, all addressed to a P.O. box in Montana. All with Caleb's handwriting. And every single one was stuffed with cash. I'm talking thousands of dollars. Wrapped with rubber bands like it was some movie drug deal. But this wasn't fiction. This was my bedroom, my ex. My nightmare. Dot at first. I thought maybe it's a savings thing. Maybe he's just paranoid about banks. But then I saw the receipts. Not for deposits. For wire transfers. Overseas. Dot to someone named Sasha. No last name. Just Sasha. Dot. My heart dropped. I sat there for a good 5 minutes, just staring at those receipts, my brain trying to make it all make sense. But deep down, I knew this wasn't about money. This was about secrets. And Caleb had more than I ever imagined. I didn't call the cops. I didn't even call my best friend. I just put the box back exactly where I found it and closed the closet door like I was trying to shut the whole thing out of my mind, but that box. It changed everything. Because once you see something like that, you can't unsee it. And once you know someone's lied to you in such a big way, you start wondering what else was a lie, like the late nights at work. The passwords he never shared. The burner phone I once found and believed was for work emergencies. Yeah, I was an idiot, but I wasn't gonna stay one. That night, I poured a glass of wine, sat on the floor with my laptop, and started a little project I now call Operation Sasha. No plan, no direction. Just one goal: find out who the hell she was and why. Caleb had been sending her thousands of dollars. That was the beginning. And trust me, it only got worse from there. Asterisk, you think you're chasing the truth. But sometimes the truth is waiting for you. I sat in my rental car for 20 minutes before I could bring myself to get out. There's something about Montana air. It's still like the whole place is holding its breath. And so as I stared at the trailer in front of me, hands wrapped tight around a lukewarm gas station coffee, pretending like I wasn't about to confront a total stranger about what exactly? Her name being on some wire transfers, Caleb vanishing, a box full of cash. I didn't have a script. I didn't even have a plan, but I had questions. And that was enough. I knocked once. Nothing. Knocked again, louder this time. I could hear shuffling inside, a faint creak of floorboards, and then silence. The kind that settles into your bones. Then the door opened. Just an inch. Are you from New York? She asked, not suspicious. Not afraid. Just resigned. Like she'd been expecting someone to show up eventually. My heart did this weird hiccup. I wasn't sure if I should lie. But before I could even answer, she said, "You're not him." I opened my mouth, but nothing came out. She shut the door again. Not hard, just firmly, like she was drawing the boundary I wasn't allowed to cross. So I knocked again. "Please," I said through the door. "I need to talk to you. It's about Caleb." That got her. The door cracked again, and I finally saw her face. She looked tired, not in a messy, chaotic way, but in a been fighting something for years way. Mid-30s maybe, auburn hair pulled into a low ponytail, no makeup. eyes like she hadn't slept in a week, and somehow she looked familiar. Not because I'd seen her before, but because she had the same haunted expression I saw in the mirror every morning. She opened the door a little wider. "You better come in," she said. Our place was nothing like I imagined. I was expecting messy, desperate, maybe even dangerous. But it was clean, sparse, live-and there was a framed picture of a dog on the wall, a corkboard filled with grocery receipts, a copy of the bell jar on the counter with a ripped spine, and a little space heater humming in the corner. Sasha sat down on the edge of a faded recliner and gestured to the worn-out couch. "So," she said, folding her hands, "how much do you know?" I blinked. "I don't know anything." "That's the problem." She exhaled like she'd been holding her breath since 2007. "I was wondering when someone like you would show up," she said. "He always left trails. Caleb wasn't careful. He thought he was smarter than everyone." That made me laugh, this bitter, almost feral sound that startled even me. "Yeah," I said. "That sounds like him." Sasha tilted her head. "So, you're the girlfriend? Ex?" She raised an eyebrow. "Okay, recently dumped and found the mystery box. Ex. Same difference." I nodded, staring at my hands. She didn't say anything for a while. Just looked at me, studied me, like she was still deciding if I was a threat or a victim. And then she asked a question I didn't expect. "Did he ever mention Arizona?" "No," I said, puzzled. "Why?" Sasha got up, walked to a drawer, and pulled out a manila envelope. She handed it to me without a word. Inside were photos, Caleb, in a hospital parking lot, holding hands with a woman who wasn't me, or Sasha, then another same woman, visibly pregnant. Caleb looking straight at the camera, unbothered, like he knew he was being watched and didn't care. "This was 2 years ago," Sasha said. "In Tucson." My throat went dry. "Who is she?" She shook her head. "I don't know. I was hoping you could tell me." So now there were 3 of us, 3 women. One man, one massive web of lies. I wanted to scream, throw something. But I didn't, because I was starting to realize something even worse. This wasn't just about infidelity, or money, or disappearing acts. Caleb was hiding something big. Something that involved multiple women, multiple states, and thousands of dollars. And Sasha, this woman I'd never met, was probably the only person in the world who could help me figure out what the hell was going on. "Why did you stay in contact with him?" I asked. "If you knew he was lying?" She looked down at her hands, then whispered, "Because I owed him my life, and now I'm not so sure he didn't ruin it." That night, I stayed in a cheap motel with yellowed curtains and a buzzing fridge. I didn't sleep. Instead, I stared at the ceiling and tried to piece it together. Sasha owed him. I was disposable. Arizona woman, still a ghost. There was no pattern, just wreckage. But the deeper I got, the more certain I became of one thing. This wasn't about love anymore. This was about control, and I was going to take mine back piece by piece. Every time I thought I'd reached the edge of the story, the floor dropped out from under me. The next morning, I found myself back in Sasha's trailer, both of us cradling burnt coffee like it was some kind of shared armor. "I need to find her," I said. "The pregnant woman, the one in the photos." "Do you have anything else? A license plate, a name, anything?" Sasha hesitated. Then she reached for a drawer beneath her coffee table and pulled out a crumpled receipt. "He took her to the Steiner 3 times, 2 years ago." She pointed to the top. "That place is still open. It's in Tucson. Tucson." Just the name gave me chills. Like the heat of the desert carried secrets in its bones. I didn't ask Sasha to come with me. She wouldn't have, anyway. I think Montana was her exile, and she wasn't ready to leave it. She gave me a look, something between warning and sympathy. "You know," she said, "there's a reason Caleb always disappeared when things got too real." "What's that?" "He was good at building traps," she said, "but even better at walking away from them." 3 days later, I was in Arizona. I told my friends I was on a spontaneous solo trip. A post-breakup, find myself kind of thing. Which, in a way, was true. I just didn't mention I was trying to find myself while chasing down a potential second girlfriend of my ex, who may or may not have been pregnant with his child. Details. The diner was one of those old 1950s places that smelled like bacon grease and dust. I sat in a corner booth and waited. Didn't even know what I was waiting for. Maybe a sign. Maybe her. An hour passed. Then the waitress, an older woman with a smoker's voice and rhinestone glasses, approached. "You look like someone who's not from around here," she said, eyeing me. "You lost?" "No," I said. "Actually, I'm looking for someone. She used to come here with a guy. Dark hair, smug smile, probably tipped like garbage." That made her laugh. That narrows it down to half the men in Tucson. I pulled out the photo Sasha gave me. Caleb and the mystery woman, hand in hand in the diner parking lot. Her face changed. She looked at me, really looked. "What's she done?" "Nothing," I said. "I just need to talk to her." The woman sighed and took a drag from Anne. Invisible cigarette. "Her name's Eliza. She came here about 2 years ago. Used to order eggs with avocado. Never smiled. The guy she was with always checked his watch. Never looked her in the eyes. Eliza, a name. Finally, she live around here." "Doubt it. She had a baby belly the last time I saw her." "My guess, she left town not long after. Do you know where she went?" "No, but she used to get picked up in a red Hyundai. Every Tuesday morning. Had Arizona plates." "Ugh. Something." My pulse picked up. "You wouldn't happen to know who the driver was?" The woman gave me a look that said, "What do you think this is? The CIA?" But then, bless her heart, she said, "I remember she left a flyer once. For a nanny job. I kept it for some reason. It's in the back, near the register." She came back 2 minutes later holding a wrinkled flyer. The ad said, "Experienced nanny available, flexible hours. Tucson area, bilingual, infant certified. Contact Eliza minus 928 asterisk 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 asterisk." The number was smudged, but not unreadable. I stared at it like it was the Holy Grail. I didn't call her right away. What was I even going to say? "Hi, I'm the ex of the guy who might have fathered your child and also possibly stole money from a bunch of women and vanished into thin air. Got time for a chat?" Instead, I walked back to the motel and stood in the parking lot, staring at the desert. That kind of stillness gets into your blood. It makes you start thinking about every decision you ever made. And everyone you do. ID in single quotes T dot, and then I dialed the number dot. It rang twice. Then went to voicemail dot. Her voice was soft, hesitant. "Hi, this is Eliza. I can't get to the phone, but leave a message and I'll get back to you when I can." I hesitated dot, then said, "Hey Eliza, you don't know me, but I think we might have something in common. His name is Caleb. Please call me back." Click. She didn't call back that night or the next. But on the third day, just as I was about to give up and fly home, I got a text. "Who are you?" That was all it said. I stared at it for 5 minutes before responding. Someone who thought she knew him. "I think you did too." Another hour passed. Then finally a new message came in. "Meet me tomorrow, 8 a.m. Griffith Park, near the dog trail." I blinked. Griffith Park? That wasn't in Arizona. That was Los Angeles. Asterisk, sometimes closure isn't justice. It's knowing you weren't the only one. I waited at Griffith Park just before 8 a.m. My heart was racing. She showed up in a hoodie and big sunglasses. Eliza, calm, guarded. "You're the one who called?" she said. "Yeah, Caleb," I replied. She sighed. "He was Ryan when I knew him. He had a different name with her." "Of course he did. I was pregnant," she added. "He vanished." Then a year later, cash showed up in my mailbox. No note except for the boy. "Don't look for me. My stomach turned. I told her about the box I found, the cash, the lies. She handed me a photo Caleb in a military uniform. He said he used to be Army. Intelligence. Maybe that's why he's so good at disappearing. What are you gonna do now? She asked. I'm not chasing ghosts anymore. We sat there a moment longer, two strangers, connected by one man's wreckage. Caleb's still out there, but now he's not just a memory. He's a story we're finally starting to tell.